Hello, everyone. Are you there? No. Oh, my word. That's just driving me mad. Hello. Hello. Did that work? I think it did. Sorry. Technical difficulties galore here. I apologize. Hopefully, I'm going to give you all some time to find me. Um, and I every week, I'm trying to do this correctly, and it's not working. And hello. How are you? My name's Carl. I hope that there's some people out there who are watching me, who are listening to me. And hi, yes, Claudia, you're there. Just you and me, Claudia. I Facebook has this new live producer thing going on, and we're trying to use it. And it doesn't seem to be working at the thing we want to, but I can see all the hellos and the people saying hello coming in now. So hopefully, and I hope you can all hear me. Yes, hello, Claudia, Sarah, Galia, and Graham. Hello, Graham. Hello, everyone. I saw the messages coming in as I was trying to sort it out, saying, "Where's the webinar? Where's the webinar?" But don't worry, we are here. I'm just going to let some people catch up because it's not exactly where it was, but I'm sure you amazing people out there will be able to find me and catch me. Hello. There's some familiar names. Adele. Hello. Luke. Hello. Joe's galore. Hi. First of all, thank you very much for joining me. My name is Carl. I have been doing the webinars here on TEFL for the last few weeks, and they have been quite popular. So we are keeping them going, I think, because until you guys decide that they're not being popular, I guess, because we love helping people to become TEFL teachers here at TEFL.org. And it's just really nice for us to be able to connect with you guys as much as we can. So please say hello there, and please tell us where you are in the world as well, so we have a rough idea of who we're talking to. Right, so my name's Carl, and if you have been listening to me the last few weeks, you'll know that I'm a TEFL teacher, 15 odd years experience, and in a range of different countries and a range of different places. And now I'm one of the tutors that works here at TEFL.org. And I actually do the face-to-face, the physical classroom courses in Northern Ireland, which is where I live. I'm actually from London, but I live in Northern Ireland. And I do the weekend courses, which I absolutely love. But unfortunately, as everybody is at the moment, we are unfortunately not being able to run those courses. So we're doing as much as we can for you online to try and help you guys to become TEFL teachers. And last week I did a webinar on business English. The week before that, I did a webinar on teaching online. I teach online now a good chunk of the time. I teach for one of the big exams that that people around the world are used to take quite a lot at the moment. They're not really taking them, so that's why TEFL.org have asked me to sort of help out in terms of sharing some of my advice and sharing some of my experience of being an online teacher. Because the number one message that we get on our Facebook page and through the website at the moment is about teaching online, which, of course, with the situation that it is around the world, we really would love to help as many of you as possible to get started teaching online, because who knows, in the next few months, year or so, it might be the way forward. So look, lovely. Look at all these. There's a Thai name, Ben from Hampshire, but he's got a Thai. He's written his name in Thai language. Hello, Jenny, Graham. Hi again from the Algarve. All right, don't rub it in, Graham. Eliza, Jenny. There we go. Love that feedback, Jenny. Flora, great. Please, guys, if you have any questions as we go along, type them in there so I can see them. Okay, I will maybe not answer them straight away, but I will try and answer them. If you guys can answer them, please answer your the other people watching the webinar. See if they can help each other out. Right. So as I was saying, lots of questions come in, lots of points about becoming a TEFL teacher and about teaching online. Now, please, if you do want to know sort of a lot more about the basics, then go back a couple of weeks ago and look at the live video. It's on these Facebook pages. And if what I'm going to do today, though, is actually go through some of the more sort of personalized questions we've been getting coming in and see if I can help people out in that way. Right. So I would say probably 50%, maybe, I don't know, of the questions that are coming in at the moment is about how do I become an online teacher without a degree? So, right, okay, so they're teaching without a degree. Obviously, if you want to go and work in a senior school or a primary school or something like that, you tend to need to have some sort of specialized teaching qualification, such as a PGCE, which is what they call it in the UK. I don't know what it's called in some sort of postgraduate certificate of education, something like that, like primary school or a senior school teacher. TEFL is slightly different in terms that it's not really regulated in that kind of way that you necessarily have to have a specialized teaching postgraduate qualification in order to teach. However, that is changing, and it wouldn't be right for me to just sit here and say to you guys, you don't have a degree, fine, go do a TEFL course and then go be a teacher. That's not true, because some countries around the world are starting to stipulate that if you want to be an online TEFL teacher, you've got to have a degree. China being one of them, that they've recently come up, I think it was last year, with some regulations. They've always, for the last, please someone correct me, but I think probably for the last 10 years or so, they've had regulation that if you want to go to China and teach in China, you've got to have a degree. They've kind of been catching up with online teaching. So do you need to have, and China's the biggest market. That's why I started talking about China. It's where most of the students come from in the world learning English. So why not start with them? And they are now stipulating that to work in China, you need to have a degree as well as a TEFL certificate. So people just with a degree, they can't walk straight into a job. They also have to do some sort of TEFL certificate like our one to get a job. However, I would say that I have heard cases of companies taking people online who don't have a degree but do have a TEFL certificate. It does happen for teaching in China. The main thing being that if you are quite well qualified and if you are you have a bit of experience, the companies might take you on anyway. Okay, so what I would say, don't necessarily think of it straight away as, oh, I haven't got a degree, where can I teach? Okay, I would go with the attitude of, I haven't got a degree, but let's have a go at seeing if I can get in somewhere as a teacher. Okay, I would suggest sending emails to recruiters and saying, look, I don't have a degree. You're stipulated that you're having a degree, but I don't personally have a degree. However, I do have a TEFL certificate. However, I have taught online before. However, I've done these specialized modules in online teaching. However, I have this module in business English, and I see that most of your students are business English students. You would be surprised how they might be able to help you somehow get in. So I would not think about necessarily about it having a degree or not having a degree. Okay, I would sort of have a bit of oomph about it and say, well, no, I'm going to have a go anyway and see if they will take me on. And the number one thing to boost up your teaching is to have some sort of certification in like an accredited TEFL course, 120-hour online TEFL course like our one. And because companies do check for things like accreditation and things like that, recruiting companies. So get yourself that. That's the first thing you need to be doing if you don't have a degree. If you have a degree as well, you're going to need one. So this is for both groups of people. But then the second thing that you should really be doing is trying to beef up your CV with teaching experience. And some people say to me, well, how do I get the teaching experience if I haven't got a job? And I can totally see that. But what I would say is go talk to charities, see if they have, like, for example, a lot of religious charities, they help people in the community who don't necessarily have particularly high levels of English. And they are kind of looking for people, especially in Europe, to try and teach those online. And they're kind of no pressure no pressure teaching experience, because you're just there to help, really. But recruiters like that kind of thing. Then so try and get some volunteer experience if you can. Right, online, search for it. There are charities out there that are looking for volunteer English teachers. Second thing to start along the lines of is no, right. I just see a couple of questions. Right, do I mean an English degree? No, Peter. Companies tend to talk about to take any degree, not necessarily about and having an English degree. Okay, I know people who are TEFL teachers with politics degrees. I know TEFL teachers that have degrees in law. Okay, it's definitely not necessary. Teaching degree, you can do a degree in teaching, but I'm talking more about some sort of qualified teaching status. Perhaps I haven't explained myself very well there, guys. So please, if I haven't explained myself, just please put it in there. But no, a lot of countries, they'll accept a degree in any discipline. Okay, it just has to be a 3-year BA or BSc type degree, undergraduate degree. Right, so do a TEFL course. If you haven't got a degree, do a TEFL course. Do the extra modules of a TEFL course so you can see the recruiter, look what I've got, look what I've got, look what I've got. Then try and get some volunteer work in if you can. There is lots of volunteer work out there. Right. The third thing that would be to contact schools directly. And for this, start to think a little bit outside of the main areas. So there's a big map behind me, and Asia tends to be the biggest number of students that want to learn English, but it's not the only one. And lots of parts of Europe, they don't actually request a degree in order for you to be a TEFL teacher. So I've had some people on my weekend course in Belfast. They've done the online 120-hour course. They've done a couple of the extra modules. Then they've spent the weekend with me doing a practical element of the course. They don't have a degree, and I've had emails from them saying that they are now in Spain teaching. Well, before, this is pre-virus. They lived in Spain teaching, and they've now also. I'm now also getting some emails from saying, okay, I contacted this school in Spain, and they are helping me to go online and teach their students there, because there are different regulations depending on which part of the world you want to teach online to. So please don't think, okay, I haven't got a degree, I can't teach, because that's not true. Does having a degree help? Yes, but it's not the be all and end all about becoming an online teacher. Start to put yourself out there, think outside the box. And there's a pinned comment there from some of the which we've written a blog about this, about how to teach online without a degree, and please have a look on there. And there's a list of recruiters that are currently taking people without degrees. Cambly is quite a big one. Open English is another. There's also, I can see one called Brown Cow English. It's an interesting name. Bebo Global, English Hunt, Lingoda, and RiPeep. So you can teach online without a degree, but you're going to have to put a bit more effort into it, basically. That's what I would say. But please don't give up. don't get a little bit annoyed about it, because you just keep persevering, you will get there. The other way to do it is to go out on your own, where you try and find your own students. And this can be the best way to do it long term, but it does mean if you're looking to start quite quickly, it might not work out for you if you need income coming through straight away. Go back and look at my webinar from 2 weeks ago where I talk more about that. I hope that has helped some of you that don't have a degree. And Sophie, that's a great question. I'm going to come to that at the end, though, if that's okay. Lovely. Okay, there's a couple of questions there. I will try and get to them in a bit. If you do have anything about how to become a teacher without a degree, please look at the blog there. Please send us a message, because it definitely is possible and is something that we help people out doing all the time. Right. Okay. The next question that we've had quite a bit recently is about I'm not a native English speaker. Can I become a teacher? And again, the answer is yes. My wife is also an EFL teacher, and she did her master's in ELT, and she did her master's dissertation exactly this, about how there's this incorrect stigma about native English speaking teachers being better than teachers whose first language is not English. So and I firmly agree with her that this is the case. However, there are parts of the world that still believe, unfortunately, that having someone who's a native in front of them is a better way to learn a language than somebody who is not native and has loads of qualifications. Okay, and I'm sorry to say that, but that is unfortunately the case. But there are recruiters out there that understand that this is not true. So I, for example, worked for, I was a manager of some language schools, and we used to recruit people solely on their levels of qualifications. And there are schools out there that do that. So if you are a non-native teacher and and I can see why people might get a bit annoyed about it. Persevere. Again, just keep going, because keep going with your qualifications. Keep getting experience. Keep selling yourself to the recruiters, to the language schools. These are my qualifications. This is my experience. This is how I can help. This is the sort of thing that I can do to really improve your students. And keep persevering with the different companies. And I'm sure if you have got those qualifications and if you have got that dedication, you will definitely get some work out there. Okay. So I would say a good way of trying to sell yourself if you're a non-native teacher is I can help the lower level students. So if somebody is trying to learn English who is quite new, they're beginners, that is definitely something that when I was managing schools, thought that a non-native teacher could help out with much more than a native teacher, because sometimes you need a bit of explaining in the student's first language. So I would definitely keep going, keep persevering, and then go from that. The other thing to do if you are a non-native teacher is start looking around in your own country a bit, seeing if you can put adverts up in your own first language about how you can help, because that is something that you have got a way in that for example, if I was to go and try and get some students in the Czech Republic, I wouldn't be able to write Czech Republic. I wouldn't be able to write the language Czech to write the adverts and be able to get the students that way. So you do have certain advantages if you want to go out on your own that maybe people like me and other native teachers have. But I would definitely go with keep getting those qualifications in. The more qualifications you have, the more likely you are to get work. Okay. I hope that has. You're going to. I know some non-native teachers that get angry about this. And please remember that it's not the schools per se that might be doing this. It comes from the students, and it comes from the cultural backgrounds of learning that they have. So the schools are, a lot of the time it's a business, and they kind of have to do what the students do it. But a lot of schools out there will actually go with qualifications over nativeness. Also, there's now kind of, I've seen when I lived in China, a lot of the students were like, oh, actually, we just want a foreign teacher. We don't necessarily want a British or an American teacher. We're quite happy to have a foreign teacher. So I would say don't give up at first. It's quite, there's ways in. Persevere, keep going. Right. I'm going to just stop my little bit there about non-native English and just answer some questions here. Please keep the questions coming in if you are listening. Joe's got a philosophy degree. Good for him. That was probably quite a nice one to have for a teacher. Sophie, what are the signs to avoid scams on TEFL jobs? Right, scams. Be careful, first of all, now I'm going to go first of all with online. Okay, don't pay any money up front to any schools. Okay, I have seen some ads on websites where they oh, okay, yes, we can help you find a job just for 50 if you transfer $50 through PayPal. Don't do that. Don't do that kind of thing at all. Schools won't ask for any money up front for you to do it. Okay? So I think that's probably the first scam that you can get. Right. The next thing you've got to kind of have to have a bit of a leap of faith in this is that, when you start a new job, you tend to not get the money on your first day. You get your money after you've been working a couple of weeks or a few weeks. That is probably what's going to happen. Okay, if you're going to go work for a company or a recruiter, that's what happens. If you find your own students, that's different because you can ask for the money before, you can ask for the money afterwards. Google is your friend. Facebook forums are your friend, and there are special EFL websites where you'll find teachers complaining about not being paid and this kind of thing. So Google stuff, Sophie, and you will be able to find those. Okay. Claudia, can I tell them all again? No, I can't. You can rewind it again in a minute. No problem. Hello there, Thomas. Flora, what are the best platforms for freelance teachers to advertise their services? Good question. Right. Probably the most well-known one is one called Italki, Italki. That is one where you can sort of set your own rates, I think, and you can advertise yourself with a video, that kind of thing. That's a good way of doing it. How did I find my own students as a freelance teacher? I built myself a Facebook page, and I just put myself out there, and I found students that way. So that might be the best way to do it. But I would go with Italki to start. Italki. They make it quite easy to get everything up and running. Please advise people to choose more than one income stream. Yes, I would definitely agree with you, and that's something that I've said before. Don't put all of your eggs on that basket, to use an English idiom. I definitely have, I have 4 or 5 different ways that I have money, and I quite like that. I don't like having just one employer. I like being able to pick and choose a little bit when I can work and how much I can do. And I think especially at the moment, I have a daughter off school and things going on with families and things like that, and definitely helps to have different types of income streams that you can pick and choose from. Good advice, Jill. Possibly worth remembering the vast majority of English conversation between non-native speakers. That's definitely a bit of fact there. Yes, most English conversations in the world are between two people whose first language is not English. So does it matter if they were taught by a native speaker? Perhaps it's not necessary. Nicola, I how much does it matter if you don't speak the learner's language? Nicola taught absolute beginners, for example, in Azerbaijan, where I didn't speak a word of Russian or a word of Azerbaijani, and I've got them through the beginners level exams. Trust your ability, trust your qualification, trust and go from there. David, are there any age restrictions? I'm 62. 62, you're nothing, David. Plenty of time to keep going. Teach online, definitely. I would say if you're looking to teach face to face, once all this stuff goes over, then I would think Spain and Italy, that kind of thing. There's definitely a thing. Anita doesn't agree with me. Well, that's fine. That's life. Please, Anita, tell me why. Kizzy, can I earn as much teaching online as I can in person? Very good question. Anita, depends where you are in. So was that Anita? Sorry, Kizzy. Depends where you are in the world. The good thing about being, if you live in a country that's quite poor, you go and work for the local language school, you might not be able to earn 20 to 30 pounds an hour. However, once you're online, you might be able to earn that much. Okay. The thing I would say is you probably get more hours more quickly by going teaching in person at a local school. Joe, love your name, Joe Whippet. What experience of a degree? I have 10 years experience as a manager but no degree. Put all of that sort of thing on your CV. Companies love if the person applying for the job has any sort of training in business or has any sort of work in front of a camera. If you're going online, they look at that as part of being teaching experience. Yes, it's a similar kind of thing. Okay. Keep going. So I hope that answers you. Any good forums for teachers, Thomas? Yes. Well, I would say Facebook is your friend. There's a TEFL org Facebook group. Email us about that one, and there you can have a little bit of chat. If you take the course online with us, you can speak to your tutors, that kind of thing. They would definitely be able to help you. Facebook is definitely your friend there. italki. Did I mispronounce italki or italki? I don't use it. I've been on there, but I'm not doing that. Sorry. Thank you for correcting my English. Would you recommend that teaching summer camps is a good starting point for teaching abroad? Yes, Sophie. And also, if you're in the UK or Ireland, maybe not this year, but in the future, definitely teaching. Lots of people come here and they really want to get involved, lots of teenagers. So definitely I would recommend that as a nice way to get into it. Jane seems to agree with me. That's lovely. And Frederick, that's a lovely point. Ed, hi. Is it better to get some actual classroom teaching under your belt before doing online teaching? I would say either or. It doesn't really matter. Any sort of teaching experience, I believe that the physical in a classroom teaching experience helps you to go online, because I use similar structures and I use similar activities. I just put them online basically. So I would say either or. It doesn't really matter. Okay, there's one more thing I want to cover. I think that's the last question. Michael, does military experience help or hurt as experience when looking for jobs? Does it depend on the country? That is a really good question, Michael. And I don't really know the answer. Military experience. Well, I guess in the military, if you had some experience of training people in the military, which I know lots of people in the military do have, I would say that would definitely be something that you could put on your CV, that you are that you are comfortable helping people to improve, that kind of thing. That's definitely something you could. So I would highlight that kind of thing on your CV. Joel, rewind about 10 minutes and you'll be able to find the answer to that after I finish this video. Right. Last thing. Some people have asked me, what are the cons? Not asked me, they've asked TEFL org. What are some of the cons of working on teaching online? Okay. The first thing that I would say, the cons is, I find it can be quite knackering. That means you get tired quite quickly being in front of a camera like this. I know, for example, after talking to you guys for an hour, I do need to go and shut myself off for 5 minutes and just go be quiet for a bit. It can be, it can be quite full on looking into this a webcam for an hour and a half. So I would say you do kind of need to factor in breaks and stuff like that. The hours can be a problem because in terms of the time difference. So Asia is obviously quite far ahead of us, 6 or 7 or 8 hours, however many it might be. So that makes a difference as to where you can teach in the morning. Obviously here you'd have to, in the UK, we'd have to teach quite early in the morning. So it can be a bit of a problem in terms of the hours when you teach. You also might need to have a bit of technology to pay for upfront. You might need to buy a webcam, you might need to buy some headphones, you might even need to buy a new computer or a new laptop if you don't really have those already. That can be, and there is also a certain worry, I would say, when you teach online about taking that leap to go and work for a company you've never heard of, that you can't go round and sort of speak to a manager, that kind of thing. So you do need to have a certain leap of faith to go in for it. So that what I would say are some of the cons. If you've got any of yourself that you might have any problems that you might think of while teaching online, please say so. Okay. But I do believe there are a lot of pros to teaching online. You can teach from home. I don't have any sort of commute to teaching, basically, apart from when I go and do some of the courses in Belfast. But even then, it's a 20-minute. I can wake up. I can have a nice breakfast with my daughter. I can have a shower, get myself ready, and I can do it all. Okay, within like half an hour, and I'm ready to go, basically. So I think that's really something. I also really find that I can help the students quite quickly through teaching online because the groups tend to be a bit smaller. So it can be quite a personalized session where you can really help them as much as you can. What are the other pros online? I get yourself up and running quite quickly. Okay, you can get yourself your application in, and if it works, everything's fine. Then you can be up working quite quickly. Okay. The other pros, I think, is you can be an online teacher just from doing a course like ours, and it takes 120 hours, but not everybody takes 120 hours to do it. Some people take a little bit less time than that. Some people take more time than that, which is absolutely fine. People learn at different speeds, and people want to take in things at different speeds. But I think you can kind of be up and running relatively quickly, and it allows you to access all of these cultures around the world really quickly without allows you to access these cultures really quickly without having to leave your own country. I get to learn a lot about the world, basically, and I really enjoy the online teaching. It's going really well for me, and I hear lots of people out there who are really enjoying it as well. So I personally think the pros are a lot higher, a lot more than the cons. Well, it sounds like I'm writing an academic essay there, which it kind of is. It's a leap of faith, but there's a leap of faith with taking on any new job to go teaching online. And I've so many more positive stories than I do negative stories about teaching online. And the negative stories I hear are for people that give up on it too early, or people who don't have it exactly how they expected it to be. You have to go into it with an open mind, and you really have to try and get yourself in a place where you're ready to be doing it, and you're ready to be flexible, and you're ready to use the knowledge you have to help people. Okay. Are there any other questions out there? Sophie, I hope this COVID-19 blows over. So do I, Sophie. So does everyone. I think, TEFL, teaching online, teaching abroad, even before I came back and taught as an online teacher, was an amazing experience for me. And really, it can It really has given me some fantastic experiences around the world, and I love hearing of my the people I've trained going abroad and teaching. It's really, really great. Can you tell about the pay rate? Yes. There's a really lovely article written by a colleague of mine called Erin, who on the blog, and she just put it up there. It's really fantastic, and I really believe it's worth a read. There's a whole different range of hourly rates that you can have. Okay, and what I would say, go back and look at my webinar a couple of weeks ago. Really think about how much you personally need to earn. Don't go into it thinking, well, everybody earns £30 an hour, £25 an hour as a teacher. That's not necessarily going to be the case, especially when you start. Okay, build yourself up, get yourself some experience, keep going with your qualifications, and see where that gets you, and then your pay rate will hopefully go up. Security issues, PC wise, with others accessing your sessions. I've never found that at all, Graham. I use Zoom for my online classes, and Zoom is in the news a lot at the moment. And I personally have not had any problems. I put passwords on, so they need a password to access the meeting. And I also have a little thing where I can admit people or make them wait until I've worked out who they are into the lesson. I have problems. Quite a lot of companies will make you use their own software. So either through a web browser or through an app or an exe program on your computer. Are there security issues with that? I've never heard of any, but again, you're sort of taking a look. Okay, what I would say is don't tell them anything too personal. You know, I'm not really sure what they can really get from me. They might be able to get my email address, that kind of thing, but I've never really shared much with in terms of where I live. I sort of talk very generally, that kind of thing. So I don't think there are any security issues that I know of. Joe, hello, Joe. My cousin has a friend with language schools. Could I offer myself an online conversation prior to doing a TEFL course? Well, Joe, if you have a cousin who has language schools, I would say your cousin probably has to make that decision whether or not they'll happily take you on. What I would say to you is, Joe, are you sure you can do the best you can for your students without knowing the ins and outs of TEFL? Could you actually, do you know the best way to teach online, that kind of thing? I would personally, I'd like to do a good job for my students, and that means knowing as much as I can about how it all works and how much I can help them. Okay, and I think the best way to do that is to get a qualification, get some experience, get yourself learning a bit, and then teach them. That's what I would say to you, Joe. Okay. Caroline, hello. I taught in Spain for 6 months after doing a 120-hour qualification. Lovely. Would this be enough to get me an online post? For sure, Caroline. Yes, why not? Go on to our TEFL.org job pages, and you'll find it through one of the links that have been put in the notes here, and apply for some jobs there. That would you'll definitely would be a strong candidate, I'm sure, for something like that. Susan, hello. When teaching online, is it easy to market to a particular audience, or can that limit opportunities? Very nice question, Susan. Right. If you are striking out on your own through something like iTalk, is that right? Please all tell me if I've done that wrong. But I would say if you go into something like that, if you can say I speak this language, then it would definitely be able to help you. Yeah, for sure, because actually some students quite like the fact that they might be able to ask a question in their native language and get it explained in their native language. Can it limit opportunities? No, I don't really think it can limit opportunities, because if you're applying for jobs in Asia, I hardly ever see jobs saying you need to speak Japanese or you need to speak Chinese or anything like that. And they never say things like, if you speak Spanish, you can't have a job with us. So I really wouldn't, I wouldn't worry about that. Okay. Adele, hello. Do you have any top tips to give to new teachers to stand out in a sea of teachers? I love thinking of a sea of teachers just out there. Yes, Adele, I definitely do have some tips. First of all, get yourself, put some little videos up on YouTube, just talking even about yourself, or doing like a little dummy lesson, a 10-minute lesson for students. Is it gonna cost you any money? No, it's not. Will you be able to then link to that when you send, if someone contacts you, you can say, oh, have a look at my little YouTube channel, something like that. If you've got some past students, ask them for some references, see if they'll be able to write a couple of sentences about you, and you can put that at the bottom of your emails, something like that. Little things like that would really make a difference. But probably the best way is just qualifications. Just keep learning, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a TEFL org. There are lots of different qualifications out there that you can do in teaching, and just go for something like that. It can really help you. But I would say, first of all, get your basic 120 hour, add to that, keep adding to that, and then that kind of thing would help you. I hope that answers your question, Adele. Right, I think, unless I've missed some, I think it could be all of the questions up there. Thank you. I'm scrolling up and looking. I can't see much. Hello to everyone. I hope that you're all wherever you are around the world, and hope that everything's going okay. TEFL.org is doing a discount at the moment, 50% off the 120-hour course. So if you do find yourself with a lot of time on your hands at the moment, it's the perfect time to do it. Go to TEFL.org and 50% off it. That ends on the 13th of April. So get yourself going in that. Why not? I've got a friend who's just done it themselves, and they're telling me how much they've enjoyed doing it. So why not give it a go? Adele, thank you as well. Jenny, I'm currently doing an online course called Teaching English Online. It's provided, it's free, or you can pay a fee or a certificate. Okay, lovely. Well, there you go. Thank you very much. Keep going with that. The only thing I would say, Jenny, just be careful with things like accreditation and things like that. I don't know whether that one's good or bad at all. It might be lovely. Fantastic. But just everybody out there, just make sure you look for the accreditations that online courses and schools have, because that is something that employers look for. Okay, because I could start a website tomorrow and say, come do your course with me. I have no accreditation for that kind of thing at all. Lovely. Have a nice Easter, everyone. I hope you stay safe, and I hope you stay nice and relaxed. And please let us know in the comments if you have any more questions, and I'll try and answer the next one. If you've got any ideas for these videos, please tell me them. Just keep going. Just have with us. We really love hearing from you all. Thank you very much. Okay. Cheers, guys. Bye.